Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post. Today we're talking about Bud Light. Their summer is absolutely ruined now, which means they're going to be losing a tremendous amount of shelf space, and their beer brand is pretty much destroyed. You see, the July 4th numbers came in, and they were horrendous. For the week ending July 1st, they were off 31.2% in volume, that's actual beer bottles and beer cans, compared to the same week the year prior. Their summer is ruined, they're losing shelf space, and they are in serious trouble. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up. I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers, so if you can subscribe, please do subscribe. Coming from Newsweek, Bud Light sales plunge as boycott nightmare continues. New sales data seen by Newsweek has shown that Bud Light is still feeling the impact from its boycott as it sees a percentage drop in revenue from sales for June, as well as a major drop in volume. Nielsen IQ sales data obtained by Newsweek via industry consultancy firm Bump Williams Consulting showed over a 4-week period ending July 1st, Bud Light saw a 28% decrease in revenue as well as a massive decrease in volume. Bud Light's volume, the number of actual physical bottles and cans sold, was down by 31.2% compared with the same time last year as well. That compares to 31.3% down from the week prior. That is not significant comparing week to week, except to say it really isn't getting better, and it's a horrendously bad number. This data highlights how the brand continues to see a financial impact from the ongoing boycott, predominantly spearheaded by conservatives against the beer. And what's interesting about them saying that in Newsweek is they're starting to have to admit that it's not just, quote, conservatives that have some problem with Bud Light. People don't want to be associated with the brand Bud Light. People don't want to be seen drinking Bud Light, because Bud Light has now been rebranded as Dylan Mulvaney's beer. If you love Dylan Mulvaney, if you want to jump into Dylan Mulvaney's bathtub and have a few Bud Lights, then that's the kind of beer for you. Most of us don't feel that way, and that's why people are not buying it anymore. It wasn't just because, of course, of one promotion they did. It was because it got caught on with social media, and the Bud Light executives never responded and clarified what was going on, so things just got taken over by social media and got worse and worse until they got to the point where they are now, which is it's Mulvaney's beer. It's not your beer or even their beer anymore, and there's nothing they can do about it. Transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney has been at the center of a boycott against the beer brand after showcasing a customized Bud Light can that was sent by the company earlier this year in April to Mulvaney with a picture of Mulvaney's face on it. We don't even know if Mulvaney got that as a gift, as was claimed, or if it was supposed to be a promotional item used in a video. That's never been clarified. Mulvaney has also come out to condemn Bud Light for the way it handled the boycott. Quote, "I was waiting for the brand to reach out to me, but they never did. And for months now, I've been scared to leave my house," Mulvaney said in a video posted to Instagram at the end of June. The funny thing about that, and it's not funny when someone has agoraphobia and they're afraid to leave their own house, but the funny thing about that statement was Mulvaney got dressed up and went to the Tony Awards and hung out with Tony the Tiger at a media event. So Mulvaney did leave the house. Quote, "For a company to hire a trans person and then not publicly stand by them is worse, in Mulvaney's opinion, than not hiring a trans person at all." Well, obviously, the investors of Bud Light's company, Anheuser-Busch, wish that they had never hired Dylan Mulvaney because they've now lost more than $30 billion of stock value since April 1st. The brand, owned by the Anheuser-Busch company, has recently seemingly struggled to win back its supporters after its latest ad. Newsweek has contacted Anheuser-Busch, but of course, they have no comments for them. In an attempt to make light of the ongoing boycott, the Bud Light Twitter page shared an ad on Sunday that resulted in further ridicule. Every ad they do, every video they do, every Twitter post that they do, every promotion that they do in stores, get the beer for free, Get the beer for 33 cents a can. It all results in more and more ridicule. The brief clip showed a woman calmly eating from a large watermelon while sitting at a picnic table while strong winds threw paper plates and Bud Light cans around. Other people can also be seen running around to clean up the mess. The clip accompanied the caption, "It's fine, this is fine." Despite the lighthearted advertisement, some social media users continued to criticize and condemn the beer. Quote, "Sorry, Anheuser-Busch, but Bud Light was forever damaged because your brilliant marketing department, CEO, and ultimately your board of directors thought it was wiser to transition away from your customer base and toward an unwise fashion trend similar to tab collars, bell-bottom pants, and rayon ties." Twitter user Churlish Phil wrote, quote, "You keep trying. The only thing going up is the ratio as the sales continue to go down. Whoever is advising you, it's probably time for a change." User Bob Brandt added, quote, "You guys moving to selling watermelons now since no one is buying your beer anymore? There's nothing they can do with advertising or promotion to get back the customers that they had. They need to sponsor a lot more pride parades. They need to write a gigantic check maybe to Dylan Mulvaney and bring Dylan back and make Dylan the new face of Bud Light forever, because regular people just don't want to buy their beer." Anson Fredericks warned back in early June that Bud Light was going to lose a lot of shelf space as a result of them having their sales get so badly destroyed. This is from the Daily Mail. "Bud Light is running out of time and could lose market share forever. Brand will lose retail shelf space to Miller and Coors if they cannot reverse plunging sales," warns ex-Anheuser-Busch executive Anson Fredericks. If Bud Light sales continue to lag, the brand risks losing shelf space at major retailers to competitors and locking in lower market share, according to a former Anheuser-Busch executive. In recent weeks, Bud Light sales have been down roughly a quarter from a year ago. Now it's worse than that, as the brand faces conservative backlash and others over an April marketing deal with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. Anson Fredericks, the former president of sales and distribution for Anheuser-Busch. He ran this brand and all of the Anheuser-Busch brands for distribution. He knows the market extremely well. Anson Fredericks really knows this business. And he said that retailers such as Walmart and Kroger typically reset their shelf space allocations in the spring and fall based on sales data. Hard numbers. For the fall reset in September, they generally take the sales data from April, May, June, and July, and then based off of that data, in that time period, they will reallocate shelf space, he told Daily Mail. If Bud Light sales continue to slump, which they have, that shelf space will be allocated to Miller Lite, Coors Light, Yuengling, of course now Modelo Especial, and some other brands that have taken share away from them. And why is this important? Why do the retailers care? I mean, Bud Light has been around for 22 years. It was the #1 beer. Here's why. In the retail business, retailers are concerned with inventory turnover. That is absolutely crucial for them. Inventory turnover, a financial ratio showing how many times a company has sold and replaced inventory during a given period. That's what inventory turnover is. Retailers can't make money. You could make the product free, but if it sits on a shelf and it doesn't actually sell, they do not make any money. And that shelf space costs the retailer a lot of money. It's their major operating expense, that plus labor. So when you have Bud Light and also some of these other Anheuser-Busch brands, and it's just sitting around and it's not selling, yes, there are issues for the Bud Light people. There are issues for the distributors that sell Bud Light to the stores, but the stores aren't making the money they need to make. And it's one thing they understand what happened this summer. It was a fluke. It never normally happens. Okay, there was a lot of problems, but because the sales never did come back, and of course they're not coming back now, they're going to cut back on their shelf space, and their ruined summer for Bud Light and the ruined summer for Anheuser-Busch is going to be a ruined fall with less bottles of beer and less cans of beer on shelves than otherwise would have been, meaning they will continue to lose market share. They will continue to lose sales. And this is a brand that by boycotting it, by rejecting it, by not being willing to just say, oh, okay, fine, I'll just buy it anyway, I don't care. but by sticking by principles and saying, no, we reject stuff that we don't like. We don't like your agenda. We don't like your propaganda. By sticking with your principles, you have absolutely stood out of the way while these guys ruin their brand by going so woke. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Were you one of these people that saw Bud Light sitting around on shelves during July 4th? Because that was like going to a wake. That was going to a funeral. You were seeing the death of this brand because you were seeing history being made. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.